Owen Marcellus had always believed in the sanctity of his marriage. He and Joanna had built a life together, raising their children, sharing dreams, and weathering storms. To the outside world, they were the picture of stability, a couple rooted in loyalty, the kind of partnership that inspired admiration. People often said they were the perfect couple, the kind others looked up to when searching for hope and love. But beneath that facade, doubt began to creep in. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and keep watching, because the best part's coming up next. It started with subtle things. A late return from work explained away with flimsy excuses. The way Joanna's eyes darted whenever her phone buzzed, her tone shifting when she spoke in hushed whispers. The small moments of intimacy they once shared, smiles over breakfast, spontaneous laughter at silly jokes, had grown rare, replaced by silence and avoidance. Owen was a man who prided himself on logic and reason. He had built his career on facts, evidence, and discipline. He told himself not to give in to paranoia. Yet the doubts lingered, gnawing at him like termites hollowing out a once strong house. He could no longer ignore them. And then came Preston Lewis. Preston was not a stranger. He had been a close family friend for years, someone who attended birthdays, dinners, and summer outings, the kind of man you trusted to pour a drink in your home. But Owen's instincts told him otherwise. He noticed the way Preston's gaze lingered just a moment too long when Joanna spoke. How their laughter carried a private edge as though they shared secrets no one else could hear. The unease twisted into certainty. Joanna was having an affair with Preston. But Owen refused to confront blindly. He needed proof, undeniable, unshakable proof. Unbeknownst to their parents, Oelia and Isadora, Owen's daughters from his first marriage, had both grown into skilled private investigators. Their work took them into shadows where truth often hid, giving them a reputation for uncovering what others wanted buried. When Owen reached his breaking point, it was to them he turned. One late night, under the dim glow of the kitchen lamp, he confessed everything. "I can't accuse her without evidence," Owen admitted, his hands trembling around a chipped mug of coffee. "But if I'm right, everything we built together is a lie." Oelia, the elder, leaned forward, her dark eyes steady. "Then we'll find out. We'll give you the truth, one way or the other." "That's a promise," Isadora, sharper and more fiery, smirked, shaking her head. "If Preston thinks he can sneak around like a thief in the night, he's got another thing coming. We'll expose him for what he is." That night, in the quiet of their father's home, they devised a plan that would set in motion the unmasking of betrayal. Scarlett, Owen's younger sister, was the missing piece. While Owen wrestled with despair, Scarlett moved with calculated focus. She had connections, friends in security, surveillance, and information gathering, people who could blend into the background, collect evidence, and leave no trace. With Scarlett's resources and the daughter's investigative skills, a small but formidable team assembled, operating with military precision. The surveillance began discreetly. Photographs of cars parked in suspicious places, call logs and timestamps carefully collected, discreet tracking of hotel visits. The truth unfolded piece by piece, each revelation striking Owen like a blow. What they uncovered was worse than Owen had ever imagined. Joanna and Preston weren't simply indulging in stolen kisses or fleeting trysts. They were meticulous in their deceit, weaving alibis, crafting elaborate lies, and even discussing a future together. Scarlett compiled everything into a dossier, so thick it made Owen's heart pound just to hold it. Inside were photos of late-night meetings, receipts from boutique hotels, and whispered exchanges caught on hidden recorders. The evidence was irrefutable. Owen's world collapsed in silence. The final act was planned at Preston's beach house, a secluded property on the coast. To Preston, it was a sanctuary, the perfect hideaway for forbidden romance. To Owen and his allies, it was the stage for a sting operation. Oilia and Isadora installed hidden cameras days before, their lenses expertly concealed in corners and vents. Scarlett coordinated everything from a secure location, ensuring no detail was overlooked. Owen, meanwhile, waited with a heavy heart, the weight of betrayal pressing against his chest. Tonight, there would be no turning back. The evening unfolded with deceptive normalcy. Preston poured Joanna a glass of wine, his voice smooth, his laughter echoing off the beach house walls. "To us," he toasted, eyes glinting with desire. "To us," Joanna whispered, her tone dripping with complicity. That was the moment Owen burst through the door. The look on Joanna's face was a mixture of shock and horror, while Preston stumbled backward, his glass shattering into glittering shards on the hardwood floor. "It's over," Owen said, his voice steady but trembling beneath the surface. "I know everything. The lies, the betrayal, the stolen moments you thought no one saw, like what you see. Click like, hit subscribe, and stay tuned. Let's keep going." Joanna's lips parted, her eyes wide, as though she wanted to protest. But the words died in her throat. Preston muttered something incoherent, his arrogance collapsing in the face of undeniable exposure. Owen didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. The cameras were recording. The evidence had already spoken. The truth was laid bare for all to see. The sting at the beach house set off a chain reaction. News of the affair spread quickly through the tight-knit circle of family and friends. The affair was undeniable. The betrayal was undeniable. Joanna's reputation, once pristine, crumbled overnight. Preston became a pariah in the community, whispered about with disgust and contempt. Scarlett ensured the evidence was distributed with precision, quietly but effectively. There would be no escape from accountability. For Owen, the devastation was profound. The woman he trusted most had become a stranger, her deceit poisoning every memory they had shared. Yet amidst the wreckage, he found strength where he least expected it. In the loyalty of his daughters and the fierce support of his sister. "I should hate you," Owen told Joanna in their final private conversation. His voice carried no anger, only exhaustion. "But hate takes more energy than I'm willing to give." "You've already taken enough from me." Joanna wept. But her tears no longer touched him. Preston, stripped of bravado, retreated into silence, his arrogance shattered. The legal battle that followed was brutal and unforgiving. Divorce proceedings unearthed more than infidelity. Financial lies surfaced, property disputes ignited, and years of hidden resentments were dragged into the light. Owen, armed with Scarlett's dossier and his daughter's testimony, stood firm. He no longer trembled. He no longer doubted. The judge, faced with overwhelming evidence, had no choice but to side with Owen on every count. Custody, property, and reputation, all tilted in his favor. Joanna, once the queen of their household, was left with nothing but the ruins of her choices. Preston fared no better. His own marriage collapsed under the weight of scandal. His professional standing was obliterated, his name now synonymous with disgrace. The beach house that once symbolized his power and indulgence became a hollow monument to betrayal. When the dust settled, Owen stood at a crossroads. Grief clung to him, but so did resilience. Some nights the loneliness clawed at him, yet each morning he woke with a renewed determination not to let betrayal define him. He leaned on Oilia and Isadora, who reminded him daily that strength was not the absence of pain, but the courage to move forward in spite of it. Scarlet, ever the strategist, pushed him to rebuild, not just his life, but his trust in himself. Time, slow but steady, carried him toward healing. Eventually, he met Leora, a woman whose kindness and gentleness contrasted the chaos he had endured. With her, he found something he thought forever lost: peace. Their bond grew not from illusion, but from honesty, vulnerability, and the hard-earned wisdom of the past. Meanwhile, Oilia and Isadora thrived in their careers, their reputation bolstered by the sting operation that had unmasked Joanna and Preston. Scarlet remained their ally, the quiet architect behind the scenes, ensuring justice always had a fighting chance. As for Joanna and Preston, they drifted into obscurity, shadows of the people they once pretended to be. Their names, once spoken with respect, now carried only the weight of betrayal. Years later, Owen stood on the porch of his new home, watching the sun dip into the horizon, painting the sky with hues of gold and crimson. Beside him, Leora slipped her hand into his, their children's laughter ringing across the yard like music. "Do you ever think about it?" she asked gently. "Sometimes," Owen admitted, his gaze soft. "But not with bitterness anymore. Just as a lesson." He looked at his daughters, strong and unyielding, and at Scarlet, who remained as fierce as ever. He thought of the sting at the beach house, the night everything fell apart, and the night everything began anew. "Betrayal tried to break me," he said softly, "but it gave me something else instead. The chance to start again." And with that, Owen turned from the shadows of the past, stepping fully into a future defined not by lies, but by truth. This story really hits on something deep: how betrayal can destroy, but also reveal who truly stands with you when everything falls apart. Owen's journey is painful, yes, but it's also powerful. It shows that healing doesn't come from revenge. It comes from truth, from facing the wreckage head-on and choosing to build again. I think we all hope we'd have the strength to rise like Owen did, and the kind of loyalty from family that turns pain into purpose. If this story moved you or made you think, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done in Owen's shoes? Do you believe in second chances after betrayal? Let's talk about it below. Your voice matters.